You get it.
I get it. I totally get it. That's some scary, scary shit.
You're listening to the Laughing Couple podcast with your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Join them weekly as they discuss topics such as relationships, kids, sex, parenting, all unfiltered and all with a healthy dose of laughter. Please welcome your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy.
Commence.
What's the soundtrack to The Exorcist?
No.
That is not it. What is it?
It's very distinct.
I feel like it's not, we can't recreate it with our mouths, but let's just put that in at the beginning.
Well, what's that band that does all the music with their voices?
Oh yeah, Pentatonics.
We're not them.
Yeah, no, we'll just add it in after the fact. Okay, so this week we are doing our spooky episode.
Spooky
skeleton.
Halloween.
No, it's spooky skeleton and shivers up your spine. Dun, dun. Okay, so if you've listened to our podcast in the past or if this is the first time, don't listen at night and don't listen alone. Wow,
Yes.
that is not The Exorcist. That's an ad on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm doing it.
So, yes. This is not scary. Okay.
I feel like now that I've heard it, I definitely can't duplicate. So it's like,
It's like, are you guys listening to the Teletubbies or? Okay.
This
focus.
is the song that never ends.
So what we are going to do this episode is we are going to talk to you guys about our recent activity. And then we asked our community to share with us their true ghost stories and experiences that happened to them. And wow. Like I've read a whole bunch and Ryan's read a whole bunch and we will share them with you. Like I have like complete shivers throughout my whole body.
Your whole
listening
body.
to them.
In the spirit of Halloween, or as our French Canadian friends would say, c'est l'Halloween.
C'est l'Halloween.
We thought, why not talk a little ghost stories? Now, I will say this. In previous years, we have had ghost story conversations right around this time.
Yeah.
And the episodes tend to trend really well. However, more so than any other episode, we get a lot of backlash for Halloween conversations about ghosts. People saying, do not talk about ghosts.
And
Ghosts,
I get
ghosts
that.
are like access to the other side that's not a positive side.
Right. But I think everybody has their own personal beliefs and they're entitled to that. I just think that, we experience some sort of form of the paranormal. And our experience, for the most part, has been positive vibes.
Yeah, we choose to look at it that way, though, sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I also feel like we had that one time, which was really negative. I now know the difference, like in just feeling. For me personally, okay, I feel the difference. If it ever gets to a point where we're like, we're done. But like, I don't feel that way.
Yeah, sorry, TLC community. 2023 will not have ghost stories featured if we start getting,
some bad shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so
shit thrown at us.
let us. We don't need. I don't need to do I love you and you're annoying. We could do I love you, you're annoying about the ghosts.
Nope.
Fuck, that's a stupid idea.
Yep. What a terrible idea. This just goes to show that we're not prepared for this. Let's just randomly throw shit on the wall and see in real time and be like, yeah, that's a good idea.
I thought it would have been fun to be like, it's fun and fun, but it's not fun because it's annoying when it happens at night. Like that's probably the most annoying part.
For sure. The most annoying thing that occurs is, I would say that 80% of any activity that we notice happens at night.
Mm-hmm. And or anything that happens with the kids bothers me because it's just like maternal. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start off with.
Oh, you know what's annoying about ghosts?
What?
In our house?
Sure, what?
The fact that the kids can't sleep on their own.
Yeah, that's actually super annoying.
The fact that they not only can they not sleep on their own, they have to have all of the closets closed. Riley needs to be tucked in a very particular way.
She needs to have things certain order or she feels off.
She needs to have a pillow at her feet, a pillow at her side. There are so many bloody rules in putting our kids to get to bed that we assert has something to do with the spirits bothering them.
Okay, let's start off with our own. It makes bedtime
a long thing. So thanks, ghosts.
For somebody who didn't want to do this, you're like, you keep talking about it.
was a great idea, Britt. I just wasn't prepared for it.
Okay, let's talk about our most recent experience. So to be honest, we haven't had much happen since the projector incident, like that Galaxy situation. But was this last week? Yeah, it was last week. Okay, so we every night, like we say this all the time, Ryan and I both check on the kids. I usually end up going to bed earlier. So we typically check on the kids at separate times before we go to bed. So I check on the kids, I go to sleep. Ryan comes up, what is it, like maybe 5-10 minutes after? What are you doing?
You're explaining how we check on the kids.
Yes. I'm just setting up the story.
We check on the kids more than once.
Anyways.
And it's probably like an hour later, let's be honest.
No, this wasn't, because I was still awake.
Okay.
So you came up and it was like 10 minutes, but it was enough time that you brushed your teeth in the kids' bathroom. Okay. So like maybe 15 minutes. So I'm in bed. I'm like literally so close to sleeping. Like, you know, when you're in that like limbo and you can go to sleep, but also you're not fully asleep yet. So you come, bust in the door, and you're like, hey. I'm like, what? You're like, did you just, were you just in the hallway? I'm like,
checking on the kids.
I'm like, no. You're like, oh. I'm like, why? And you're like, never mind, good night. And like, shut the door. And I was like, what the fuck, Ryan? So you can take over, because this is now your experience. I wasn't there.
So here's what I didn't tell you about that story.
Oh my God. Are you serious? There's more?
No, there's just a funny story that goes along with it.
Okay.
So this happened to be one night that we did go to bed relatively around the same time. Mm-hmm. Relatively. Now, I happened to be sleeping in the spare room this evening. And so when I went to the washroom, this is where it occurred. I was sitting in the washroom. And as I was going to the washroom, pee, not poo, just so everyone's clear, I was taking some extra time.
You're fucking ragging on me because I'm talking about how many times we check on the kids, and you need to clarify if you took a shit or you took a pee.
It's important to know, because when I got up and ran away, I don't want people thinking there was shit in my ass. It's important to establish that I was not going to the washroom.
Okay.
Anyways, I hear you walk down the hall, enter the kids' room, walk out of the kids' room, walk into the spare room. Now, in my head, I was thinking, oh,
she wants to have
Brittany wants to have sex with me. So I was going to just play it nonchalant, cool. I wasn't going to be like, hey, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Pun intended. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, well, wait until she's like, Ryan, where are you?
Yeah.
And then Ryan, where are you? Never
happened.
came. So I thought, maybe she's going to be all coy, and when I get into the room, she's going to be naked.
Right. And it should be noted that when you're in the bathroom, like you just look around the corner and you can see the whole hallway. Like,
yes.
I couldn't have like left and come back without you seeing.
Yeah. You weren't there.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I heard the person go into the spare room,
right,
and never come out. So I'm anticipating that you's going to be naked when I get in there. So I walk in there all proud, ready to just, take her for the team.
What?
You're not in the room. To my dismay, you're not in the room. So I thought to myself, oh shit, maybe I didn't hear her get out of the room and I missed my opportunity. So I wasn't gonna allow myself to miss that up. That's why I barged into the room so quickly, because I was like, fucking daddy's here. Right? Here we go. Don't know if you noticed, but I'm carrying a boner with me.
Ready.
And I opened the door and you were like, I was like, this doesn't seem like sex to me, but hey, maybe she's into it. Maybe this is role playing, like, I'm pretending to sleep. Don't take advantage of me.
Scary, and this is like, way not.
So anyways, that's what actually occurred. But everybody knows the feeling of hearing somebody walk. It's not like the air conditioning or the ducts in the house are moving or whatever. The house is shifting. People know the sound of walking. Nose. People know the feeling of
your own house
of
too.
Motion going across a room. You can hear the difference because the way that sound works. Jake's going to love hearing this. The way that the sound waves work, you can hear when they deflect off of things and change. There's no mistaking the fact that there was somebody walking in the hallway towards the spare room who was looking to get lucky.
They did not get lucky. I love that you said that was their intention. But you said, did you hear them go into the kids' room first?
okay, so it sounded like it came from your room.
Right.
And it sounded like, this is why I thought this is why I thought I was having sex, because it walked towards the kids' room, didn't really necessarily enter.
Yeah.
But then moved from kids' room to spare room, which is right beside it. But a very distinct pause, then move towards sexy time.
Yeah.
That's why I thought for sure. And I'm not going to lie when I say this. Now, I don't lie, so I don't know why I started the sentence that way. But there had been many a time when I am laying in the spare room that I hear somebody walking into the spare room, but my back's turned to it because I like to sleep on my right. So when I move to my left, there's nobody there. And then I think, oh yeah, Brittany's gonna, sneak in. And then you don't, like, ever.
And you're like, cool.
So there's two problems here. One, we've got a ghost that loves the spare room. And two, every time I'm in the spare room, you never want to have sex. So two issues.
But you know what's strange is that I feel like in the last couple weeks, and I don't know if it's just because I'm in that weird kind of like purgatory of sleep, but I feel like I'm being woken up and I'm just being watched, or just like there's a presence there. Not enough to make me feel...
Is it me over top of you? Like,
yeah. Are you ready? Not enough to feel
awake?
not enough to feel like terrified. Like, but just to feel like I am not alone. And I know that sounds like it would be terrifying, but if I'm able to go back to sleep, that tells me something huge. Like, so maybe it's not something sinister or whatever. So that was really, really creepy because that wasn't me. And I was so mad at you that you told me that right before bed. I'm like, hold on, but I understand.
Sorry.
I understand. It wasn't your intention to scare me, but
no, it was my intention to have sex.
But let's just say this, because I forget who I was telling. I think I was telling DK. I told the story, and I said, there would never be a time though, Rye, where like if I walked by you, where I wouldn't say something. Do you know what I mean? Like if I saw you in that room,
you wouldn't have seen me because the way that the toilet works when you're sitting is it's in a room to the side.
If what I'm saying is, if that truly was me, I would find you. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you were being coy and allowing me to come in and you were naked. That's what played out in my mind.
I get it. But then I would have like texted you and whatever. I wouldn't have just been like, well, fuck it. He wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like, so just for future references, if this happens again, maybe don't tell me till the morning, because that was hard for me to sleep, like really hard for me to sleep. And then let's move on. Hold on. Let's move on because we have so many stories. Later on.
You're in control of this conversation.
I told Ryan that I heard knocking in the middle of the night. And I was like, what the hell? And then later that night, which is actually super early in the morning, I thought one of the kids fell out of the bed. So they like to sleep together. And so I thought one of the kids fell off the bed, and I hear it. It jolts me awake. It was probably like 5:30, maybe 5, whatever.
I can tell you exactly what time it was.
Well, you were downstairs.
It was 5:26.
So you got up to go work out. But what we just realized is that, because we just had this conversation before we podcasted, because I said, like, I thought one of the kids fell out of the bed, and you were like, holy shit, was it in the morning? Because Ryan heard it too. But
I was downstairs, so I heard it above me.
And I heard it, like, their room is kind of attached, the back of their room is kind of attached to the closet in the master. So, like, I was waiting. I jolted up, and then I'm waiting to hear, like Riley or Cooper be like, I fell or whatever. Nothing came. And I was like, huh. Then I was like, oh, maybe it was like something outside or whatever, but it was so distinct. And it's the same thing. Like when somebody falls out of the bed, you can hear that noise. Do you know, like it's a specific,
it's a bang.
Yeah. Anyway, super weird.
Just to add to that story, I went upstairs.
And they were sleeping. Did you check on them?
Not on the floor, sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
They were sound asleep in the bed, sleeping.
Wow. Weird.
So I thought, that's strange. And then you look around. Then you look around, and you're trying to find, what's broken,
what fell or whatever.
What broke.
Yeah.
And because you kind of, when you hear it, you know what room it came from. It came from Cooper's room, so you know immediately to go into that room. And I thought maybe it's in the closet or whatever. And anyways, it wasn't. Here's another creepy story, and I just wrote this down while we're here so I wouldn't forget about it. So 2 weeks back, we went and got family photos done.
Oh, you're telling Wendy's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went, and the talented Wendy Alana took our photos. What a wonderful soul and an incredible photographer.
Yeah, she's amazing.
# Wendy Alana.
Super intuitive.
We decide last minute that it's a beautiful backdrop in the local cemetery.
Yeah, like what a was wrong with it. There were just so many trees.
So many beautiful trees.
And there were areas where like the tombstones and stuff weren't shown. We want to be respectful. But it was a really beautiful, like peaceful space.
Well maintenance space that from a fall standpoint, huge old trees. Anyways, we decided to take these photos there. And when we got there, Wendy, who is very intuitive, call it off. And she describes it as I don't know what was going on, but I felt off. And you felt a little off.
It was just a weird day.
I felt it was kind of strange to be taking photos in a cemetery, but nonetheless, I wasn't off at all. Anyways, Wendy's taking a photo of our kids, and I'm holding on to her second camera. Unbeknownst to me, I hand her back that camera, and it's broken. Mm-hmm. Like
she didn't tell us that her camera broke until the day after or that night.
She told me the day after that her camera broke. I assumed that she had 3 cameras. I'm sure she's got multiple cameras, but I'm assuming that she had 3 cameras and her camera broke the day of the shoot, not on the shoot.
Yeah, it was weird.
She brought the camera in to a local camera shop and they said, yeah, there's nothing we can do about this. This thing is broken.
Weird. So weird.
So first of all, apologize for taking photos in a cemetery. That's not a good thing, I guess.
It's not?
I don't know.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like, we weren't taking photos beside the gravestone. There's like the perimeter of the cemetery has beautiful trees. So I feel like there's one thing, you have to be respectful of the space and the people who have passed. We're not like using that as a set.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Halloween photo shoot.
Yeah, like it was just
a fall photo shoot.
Okay, but are you going to tell the story about Wendy and...
I don't know the story.
You don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was eavesdropping.
Okay, so Wendy knows a mutual friend of ours who also has, I don't know if I want to tell her name because it's a personal story.
Don't even worry about it.
Okay, so this other friend, let's call her Becky. Becky has like a gift, like she's like a medium. And Wendy and Becky connected over socials. And basically Becky has like very, very good intuition, can kind of speak to the other side, whatever. And they didn't know each other beforehand, okay? And so one day, Wendy is at home and she looks outside, and for whatever reason, she's staring outside and she witnesses a car crash. So basically a car runs into a van and like totals the van. And so she has this weird, overwhelming feeling to go outside and take a picture. She's also going out and like making sure everyone's okay. So she goes and takes a picture, and then she comes back inside and she has this like pull to send this photo to Becky. Like, I don't know why. She literally was like, I sent this photo and I said, I don't know why I'm like compelled to send you this photo. And then Becky responds, what is the license plate of that van? And so Wendy goes back, zooms in, sends it. Becky says, holy shit, that's my mom. That's my mom's van. Like, they were not in the same neighborhood. Wendy didn't even know, has never met Becky's mom. Like, just this weird connection of like, I feel like I need to send Becky this information. Like, just wild.
Her mom was okay, by the way.
Yes, her mom was okay. But how crazy is that? Like,
it's insane.
It's insane. Okay, let's start off. Do you want to read the really good one?
You know what? Yeah. I think the mom is a good transition to this conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're going to tell some creepy ghost stories.
True as well.
Well,
coming from the people who said that they were
whoever
true.
wrote them states that they're true.
Yes.
So we're going to assert that they are.
They're their experiences.
But before we get into the creepy ones, I'm going to share with you one that I think is just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So this woman writes, my mom died when I was 19. I was late coming home one night and missed my curfew. As my boyfriend and I drove up to the house, the outside lights started flickering. I took it as a cue to get inside. Then, in the middle of the night, I woke up to a bright light in the hallway and my dog standing in the doorway barking. As my eyes focused, I saw my mom as an angel floating in the middle of the bright light. I called to my dad and he just yells back, I see it too.
Oh, that literally gave me shivers when I first read that one. And then she's like, and that's just it. Like, we were both just happy.
She just wrote, like, I'll never forget that moment and how she looked like a real live angel. Mm-hmm. That's unbelievable story. Yeah. That's cool. That's not creepy. That's a beautiful story. And thank you for sharing it.
I agree. Okay. I'm going to read, there is another like really sentimental one as well.
Oh, then let's start with the sentimental before we get into the other ones.
Also, this is a trigger warning. There is child loss in this one. So trigger warning. Okay. In 2016, I miscarried twins. My son at the time was nearly 3. He actually told me that I'm pregnant with 2 babies and also advised me when I was 13 weeks that the babies are gone and went to heaven. I thought that this is silly. I just saw the doctor 2 days ago and all was good. Well, turned out at my 18-week ultrasound, the babies in fact were gone and both passed at the 13-week mark, 2 days apart. After coming home from the hospital a couple of days later in the evening, my son runs into the living room right away and stops right before it. Now we came in through the garage, which opens right into the kitchen, and I can see through my kitchen and dining room straight into the living room. He calls for someone to come turn on the light. Strange, he has always done it himself. I advise him, it's okay, you can turn it on. He says, no, come turn it on. There is a man here. I don't see any man, so I advise him it's okay, and there is no one there. And he stated again, there is a man by the window, and he has long hair. My husband went to turn on the light and he just turned on the lamp. My son then says, he is still there. You have to turn on the big light. My husband said, there is no one here, which my son responded to, yes, there is, right in the corner. He pointed to 2 corners in the 2 windows. My husband then turned on the big light and my son shrugged his shoulders and said, okay, he is gone, and then proceeded to play in the living room. We thought that was really strange. And then a couple days later, I was calling my son and I didn't find him in his room. And I proceeded to check all of the rooms and he was laying down with a pillow and a blanket in one of the rooms we emptied out for the babies. I asked him what he was doing there and he stated, I am saying bye to my sisters. They are right there, again, pointing to a window. They came to say bye because they have to go now. At this point, I got chills and I didn't know what to say. And I thought maybe this is how he was processing losing the babies, as he was so excited to be a brother. I calmly said, we'll say we love them very much, but we do not know if it was a brother, sister, or we don't know if there were 2 brothers or a brother and a sister. He says they are sisters and they know that we love them, but they have to go now. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of other creepy stuff that happened. It's a lot. And then she goes on to say that she went to her OB appointment 6 weeks after the loss, and her OB confirmed that they were 2 sisters, and her son kept seeing this man around, nothing like negative, but just he was always kind of there.
Did they ever? That's an incredible story. Did they ever piece together who the man was with the long hair?
She says, like, she talks about, this is a really long one, so I'm just paraphrasing the end of it. She said, I could at times see a man with work boots and a flannel jacket walking downstairs at like random times. I could never see his face. I could just see from the neck down. So like, she has no idea, but she also started to see this figure after. She didn't feel weird about it. But like her son, I think she was just trying to explain that her son really had that like gift of like seeing. I just was like, whoa, with the babies, like that would have been really heavy to hear as a parent. And like, and also just like a little bit.
The kid's going to be all matter of facty because he doesn't have the significance behind it.
Yeah, no,
right?
they're
so
sisters.
It's like, they're girls.
Yeah, they're fine. They just wanted to say bye. They can't say anymore. And like, as a parent, you're probably like, A, slightly terrified. B, like in a weird way, comforted, right? Like that would be a hard, like an emotional roller coaster, I feel like you would go through in that situation.
You know, the sad thing about this, and you hear it all the time, kids intuitively have this gift, and over time you start to lose it. And I don't believe it's because you don't lean into it. I believe that society tells you, oh, you're not seeing anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're basically been like, oh, that's your imagination.
Yeah.
Like you're fine. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
What a cool story. What a cool little gift.
I know.
Okay, so I've got one here. This is a short one, and then prepare yourself because this is a short one. My grandparents used to take us to the battlefields on vacation every year. One time in Gettysburg, and those for you who don't know, the Gettysburg Address. I got nothing to add to that.
Okay.
We were walking through the battlefield at night and started to hear the faint beat of a drum. Now, Gettysburg Address, just so you know, Brittany, is the Civil War in the United States. Blue v. red. Anyways, then to our right, we saw the grass beginning to move in 2 separate places, like 2 people were walking in formation right beside us through the field. Super creepy story.
Oh, that's it.
I told you it was short.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was the build-up.
No, that's just it.
Sorry, I missed. Why did they take their kids there?
Well, she doesn't explain why they do this on a yearly basis, but they do. And it is what it is. Like people go to Gettysburg all the time.
Yeah.
Because that was the major battle of the Civil War.
I can only imagine how much activity and presence is there. There were so many deaths.
Oh my God.
Like it totally makes sense. Okay. This one I have like thoughts about afterwards that I want to discuss, and I would like your opinion on something.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It was Halloween 2008, and I was 17 and ready to party. I was told that my friend Eric was having a party at his new house in the complex by our high school. I was one of the first people there, and we were all standing in the kitchen. Eric and his mom were explaining to us about the paranormal shit that was going on since they moved in. And I kid you not, as they are telling me and a few others about the creepy shit that was going down, cupboard doors started to open and close on their own. Capitals. The radio turned on its own. As this started to happen, I got the fuck out of there as faster than a hamster on its wheel. I never went back because I knew this was bad energy vibes. I was good friends with Eric though, and months later I saw him at Timmy's when he went on to tell me, for those of you who don't know, that's Tim Hortons in Canada. Months later that I saw him at Timmy's where he went on to tell me more of the creepy shit that happened at his house. He said his phone took a picture by itself the other night when he had it open. It was a flip phone, by the way, because he said this was in 2008. So the camera quality is probably shit. Well, he showed me the picture, and this image will be forever engraved into my very existence.
It was his D.
Yeah, can you imagine? It was a dick pic.
Ghost took a picture of me masturbating.
Very slim.
Yeah, take a look at this.
It was a figure, looked like a person wearing a hoodie with its head down, tilted, and the eyes and mouth were black. It had like a creepy smile on it. It was pure evil. I've never felt that way again, shook to the core. And to this day, if I run into Eric in town, we talk about his haunted house. Okay, so this is like, that's like a horror movie. Part of me wonders if like, because Eric and his family were having this Halloween party, if they like triggered some shit. Not to say that this didn't happen, but I often wonder about those types of things. And like, what happens if like Eric's mom to this day is like, fucking got those kids, like that string, you know what I mean? Or it's absolutely terrifying, and that's exactly what I experienced. But I think that something as aggressive as that, like things being opened and closed in front of you, like
not cool.
That is like fucked up.
If I had things open and close in front of my face,
yeah,
in my own home,
yeah,
I would be getting someone in here and saging the shit out of it
immediately,
or moving, because like I'm cool with the spirits. I'm cool with the idea that our loved ones can watch us and look over us and protect us. I'm cool with all of that. When something's doing that, it's an intimidating thing, and they're trying to intimidate you.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not cool. Thou shall not pass.
I also think that like, when the other stuff happens, like say you see the figure out of the corner of your eye or you hear something, your brain does this thing where it says, you know what, that was fucked up and I did see that. But at the same time, it says, did you see that? Did you hear that? Like there could be an alternative explanation almost to like ground you. When shit is opening in front of your face, you don't have that second kind of like grounding idea and thought. Do you know what I mean? Like there is no way. Like I could see maybe if a cover door was like half open and like the house would shake, like it would close, but something opening, there's no fucking way things open on their own.
No.
Like
and we shared this story when we were in our hotel room in Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that was so
where
creepy.
The door, literally myself and Adam sitting beside each other, watched the door open.
Yeah.
Watch the door knob go down and then the door open, waiting for you to be on the other side.
Yes.
And subsequently you being on the other side, waiting for us to come in.
Yeah. And then you guys
Hello?
were just like,
You're like, hello? We're like,
hello?
Hello?
And then I was paralyzed.
And you're like,
couldn't move.
Is that you? And we're like, no, go back to sleep.
But you guys were so drunk.
No, we were high.
Oh yeah, you were high. But you didn't even come in. Like I was then paralyzed to the bed alone because we had that like conjoining little living room. So I was like, oh, so they're like, go back to sleep. And I was like, haha, like obviously I'm not going to go back to sleep. Then they just left me in there alone.
We cleaned and called it a night. Well, I guess we're going to go call this a night. Let's clean up before we go to bed.
So scary.
Very responsible of us. Okay, so this is a long story. There's a lot to it. So I'm going to cut a lot of it out just for the sake of time.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to paraphrase. Oops.
Yeah, I guess that's the other word for it. I'm going to paraphrase. So this girl says lots of stuff happened, blah, 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 blah. They're in this old house, lots of movement, lots of activity. She says, but the creepiest thing that happened is we found out that just so you know, this girl, they found out that this woman and her kids died in the house. Now, The girl's name was
like
Ruth.
the previous owners?
A previous owner.
Okay.
Not the previous owner. A previous owner. Her name was Ruth. It was apparently an accident. It wasn't suspicious at all, but rumor has it Ruth was still there. So that's a little bit of the backstory. So anyways, creepiest thing out, we found out that our new house was ready and we could finally move in. I was telling my mom about the upcoming move on the phone when suddenly a banging started in the basement. It was incredibly loud and made the floor under my feet vibrate. It seemed as though someone was in the basement banging the ceiling with a sledgehammer. Since our basement looked like the one out of the Blair Witch, there was no way in hell I was ever going to go down there. This is funny. She said, I often said if there was ever a tornado, I'd just let it take me away, seeking shelter in that, rather than seeking shelter in that terrifying hellhole. Anyways, the fact that the intruder, or God knows what was down there, made it even less appealing to check out. I called my husband, who came home, found nothing out of place in the basement, and no apparent cause for the banging. Shortly after the incident, we had the family over for dinner. We started talking about our upcoming move. This seems to be a trend here. The aggressive banging started again in the basement. My husband and father-in-law went down to the basement and could not find any explanation for the banging. Thankfully, they moved out there a little bit after. People told us when they moved, that house sat vacant for a little while. People said that they saw random lights turning on. Oh. Yeah, the story gets better. I didn't go through it, but I'll Cole's note it for you because I read the whole thing.
Okay.
Shortly thereafter, nobody was living in the house. They had one of his buddies move in just for temporarily. He got the fuck out of Dodge and left like everything there.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gone. Like, I don't need to be here.
Because he felt...
She doesn't imply that, but I'm going to take it that way because who leaves all of their stuff there? So he leaves all their stuff there. The house sits vacant for a little while. Then the husband decides, you know what? I'm going to donate this house to the fire department because the fire department needs these like controlled burns for training. I'm just going to donate it to the fire department.
They want nothing to do with the house.
They want nothing to do with the fucking house.
Wow.
So anyways, the husband takes his son and says, well, let's see, whatever the guy's name is, Johnny. Let's see if he left anything that's worth taking back. So they took a PlayStation, a couple of things. Anyways, the next day, their son says, oh, I forgot one video game. It's sitting on the couch. Let's go back and get it. They went, no video game on the couch. They burnt that house down. They told the platoon chief or whomever it was that's in charge, listen, like, there's a girl in here. Her name's Ruth. If you burn this house down, there's a high likelihood that she's going to go to your house and scare the shit out of you. So anyways, they burnt it down and the chief says like, that's never happened. So anyways, really creepy story.
Wow. I love that they're like, FYI disclaimer.
Yeah. You can have the house and you can burn it down. But if you do,
but Ruth might follow you.
Ruth might be coming after your ass.
Well, they often talk about how you can have, and I agree with this, like spirits can attach themselves to a home and to people.
Right.
Like, or an item. Like multiple things happen. And people always ask us, like, you know, like I move with all of this stuff. I'm like, you guys don't understand. We've moved four times. And who follows us is like, we're not scared of them. Like sometimes they're people we know.
For the exception of Black Jacket Guy. Black Jacket Guy is new to this house.
Pardon me?
Trench coat, Black Jacket Guy.
What?
Come on.
That's who you see?
That's who I see.
Oh, I thought that. Because on Bergie it was
another
woman.
Man.
No, I thought it was a woman.
No, there's a woman, but there was a man too. But he wasn't wearing a black jacket.
You don't think it's the same?
No,
really?
Black Jacket Guy. Because when we went and saw the medium.
Yeah.
Medium.
Yeah.
When we went and saw the medium.
You always fuck up that word.
That's why. That's why
when we went
to
saw the medium.
The medium. When we went and saw them, they flat out said, "Who was it?" Yeah, they flat out said the black trench coat guy.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
Really?
Yeah. Don't have to worry.
Don't
have to worry about him, but I don't like him. Like he's got negative energy.
Oh, I wonder if it's like unfinished business. I wonder if it's also like connected to you because you are the one that feels that.
I only see him when I'm in the spare room.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he's always walking like he walks like right through the wall in the kids' room.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, walks right through it. Was it the olive readers who said that to you? I think it was Mark.
I'm going to reach out to Steph about this because I don't like that either. Anyway, so things can be attached to people, to things, to houses. Okay.
That's what they say, but we are not them.
We are not them.
We are not the experts in this. We're just reading stories.
Okay. So Should I read this one? Yeah, sure.
Read the Goosey one because we're running out of time.
It's really long.
Yeah, read it.
Okay.
I haven't heard it.
All right, it's quite long.
But you said it's well written.
It's well written, so I
love a well-written story.
I am going to read this. This will probably be the last one then.
Okay.
I have one more before it.
Nope, let's go through
good?
this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do a mini episode with the extras. Okay. This story is coming from British Columbia, so it's also Canadian. BC, whoop whoop. I'm going to read this verbatim. It is very long, but it's well written, so I'm going to read it. Okay. Back in the early hold on. I'm going to ask Jake right now. I know you're editing this, Jake. Can you put a little bit of creepy music in the background for this one while I'm reading it? I think that'll really be good. He's going to do it. Back in the early 1980s, my mom and dad rented a home situated on some farmland. The home was an original build that dated back to the 1930s. The original owner built the home for his wife. It was her dream home and equipped with a cold cellar in the basement for all of her canned goods that they harvested from their farm. The wife ended up suffering with severe mental illness and was placed in Riverview Psychiatric Hospital, where she lived the rest of her life until she passed. She never returned to her home and her physical body. Fast forward to the 80s when my parents and their 2 young children, my oldest sister and brother, rented the home. It started off completely normal. It was an old home with obvious creaks and drafts, but then things started to quickly escalate. The first incident occurred in the winter. My parents left the home for a Christmas party with my sister, 4 years old, and my brother, 7 months. When they arrived home and came up the front steps, every single door in their home had been closed shut. My mom, not thinking too much of it at first, came into the kitchen, and off the kitchen was a basement door. My parents would leave the door open for their cat to use the litter box downstairs. The door was kept open by my dad's steel-toe work boot, and they had ensured the door was open when they left for the party. My mom opened the door, and at the bottom of the stairs was the work boot, as if someone had thrown it to the basement. The cat...
Fuck this boot.
Yeah. The cat had been locked in the basement in the dark along with the boot. My mom obviously panicked, called my dad into the kitchen and head into the basement to check things out. Things seemed normal and nothing out of place, and they brushed it off as their own doing. This is where things get even worse. As I said earlier, that all of the doors had been shut upon their arrival home. When my mom headed down the hallway to change my siblings into their pajamas, she opened my brother's bedroom door. Every folded item off the change table had been thrown all over the room in what looked like a fit of rage.
We've been there.
Yeah.
We've experienced that.
Yeah. I'll preface by saying my mom was and is still to this day absolutely narcotic about cleanliness and would never leave her home overturned. This caused so much fear and panic with both of my parents that they called their landlord, who lived up the road. He came over promptly to investigate with my dad. At this point, they believed someone broke into their home. Yet nothing was taken and the doors were locked once they arrived home. The landlord arrived and checked things out again, and everything came back completely normal. Several weeks went by before the next occurrence. My sister had a plethora of Cabbage Patch dolls she would play with in her room. One evening, while making dinner, my mom could hear my sister having a conversation in her room. She walked down the hall to listen into her 4-year-old daughter's imagination at play when her blood ran cold. My sister was having a conversation with someone, yet no one was in the room. When my mom entered the room and asked who she was talking to, my sister replied, "The lady who lives here." My mom asked, "What lady?" Which my sister replied, "The lady whose house we're in. She likes my dolls, but she doesn't like Charlie, their cat." My mom at this point was visibly and physically disturbed. She shared what my sister had told her when my dad came home from work, and he played it off as a wild imagination of a 4-year-old. That night, when everyone went to bed, my dad was woken up by what sounded like a lumber crashing. He shot out of bed to find the source. He kept his tools and extra lumber in the basement. When he went downstairs to make sure nothing fell, everything was normal except for the cold cellar door, which was wide open. This was a door that was made of concrete, which led to the cold cellar. My dad kept his tools and lumber in the cellar as the house didn't have a garage. The door was always kept closed as they had a 4-year-old and a cat who could get into things in the cellar. The door alone was 50 pounds and would not have opened on its own. My dad shut the door and came back upstairs. Once he was back upstairs, he was completely freaked out and wide awake. He grabbed a drink and went and sat in the living room. He's sitting on the couch and turned the TV on aimlessly, flicking channels, when the curtains beside him moved. He looks over to the window and nothing was there. This is in the middle of winter and the windows were closed, and as he's looking at the window, a rush of air moves past him and he's met with the smell of perfume. The hair on his neck stands up as he goes up to turn the TV off. This is a grown-ass man. My dad was your typical man's man, tough, built like a brick shithouse. And when I tell you this man ran for his life, he ran as fast as he could. My dad finally started to believe that things were happening in their home to be very much real. They started looking for a new home to live soon after my dad started experiencing paranormal events. They ended up living in the home until that summer, and the tipping point was that the following July, my mom took my siblings to stay out with their grandparents in the cottage in eastern BC for a few weeks. Nothing major had taken place for a few months, so they weren't expecting any drastic occurrences. 4 days after my mom had left their home, my dad had again gotten in late from work, again alone in their home except for their family cat, Charlie. When my dad arrived home, the basement door was again closed. Upon opening it, the boot was at the bottom of the stairs. He did the usual and walked to the bottom of the stairs. When he looked around the basement, he could hear the cat meowing. He searched the basement and couldn't find Charlie, but could still hear him meowing. He moved to the back of the basement to the cold cellar. Charlie's cries were louder. He opened the door and out comes Charlie. He had been locked in the cellar. My dad slept in the bathtub in the bathroom with the door locked until my mom and siblings came home from their holiday. They moved out of that home beginning of August that summer. How fucking crazy is that?
Well, three things.
I have goosebumps.
3 things. Number 1, very well written.
So super.
Number 2, you're an incredible reader.
Thanks.
I just realized that I suck at reading.
You don't.
I pause in the wrong spaces. I take deep breaths when I'm not supposed to. That was so fluently read.
Thanks, babe. Wild story, eh?
Now, third, what the fuck?
I know. Crazy. Like, I love that she's like, my dad's like a man's man, and was probably like, no, this is your imagination. And at the very end, he's just in a bathtub like, fuck this shit. Sage everywhere.
Here's the thing. I can tell you, and I wouldn't say that I'm like a man's man. I don't fix shit, right? And I'm not built
like the shelf upstairs.
And I'm not built like a brick shit house. But I like to believe that I am the man of the house in terms of if shit goes wrong, someone's getting fucked up and I'm the one that's doing it, right? Mm-hmm. When I ran into the room, because I heard someone singing to Riley years ago, and that air that she just described passed through my body, I can't tell you how frozen I was. Yeah. And it wasn't like, I didn't want to get up and run.
Yeah.
I couldn't move.
Like paralyzed. Just like
literally could not move. My whole hair went standing up. I went in pins and needles. I got the goosies and I was like, could not move. So
you get it.
I get it. I totally get it. That's some scary shit.
Okay, well, there is a bunch more. Maybe we'll do like a mini episode when I'm back from Saskatoon.
Yeah, Saskatoon.
Well, I already would have been back when you guys were listening to this. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Good luck sleeping tonight. Maybe just burn some sage and say a prayer. Say a prayer,
eat your vitamins, and work out the Hulk Hogan way, baby. What you gonna do, brother?
Happy Halloween.
There goes a sight from my soul.